Hey everyone, welcome to another uh episode of That's So Funny. Episode 432. What's today? I don't know. Black Friday, right? Can we still call it Black Friday? It's African American Friday, Indigenous Friday. Uh all days of the week matter. Not just Fridays. All days matter. Um yeah, no, I'm just here. Woke up, ate some. I'm gonna have a lot of leftover Thanksgiving for a little while, which isn't bad. At least it's food that we can eat and survive on. Like the original Thanksgiving was derived from is just surviving harsh winters and kind of creating these alliances with people that you initially wouldn't have just to survive a hard winter. Not necessarily, being all friends and being together is more just out of survival. But that's life. Am I right? We all just kind of do things to survive. But I thought today we'd talk about, since I'm looking at the news, there's really nothing other than the Israel Gaza ceasefire, and then I think Gaza fucking violated that 15 minutes in. They started shooting rockets and shit, which sounds like a pretty Gaza move. But I think they're you know, like really fucking trying hard to play nice with each other for the sake of the hostages, for the sake of the people, which is good. Something that hasn't been playing nice. That's my segue. Is I wanted to look into this because I didn't know much about it. I've heard about it. Is Comicsgate, and I sounded like Jodie Foster saying that. Comicsgate. That's my Jodie Foster impression. But yeah, I don't know if you've heard of it. I've heard of it a little bit on the Twitter, which I guess is where it started. But let me read this here, and this is from the greatest source ever, Wikipedia. So take that as you as you will. Comicsgate is a campaign in opposition to diversity and progressivism in the North American superhero comic book industry. It proponents targets yeah, its proponents target the creators hired, the creators depicted, and the stories told, and argue that these elements have led to a decline in both quality and sales. The name's derived from Gamergate, yeah, and it's derived from Watergate. Everything has to have a gate in it, you know. Um, so essentially, this Comics Gate was against, um, the kind of like what the comic book industry and the comic book movie industry and Disney and all industries are essentially doing is kind of making things more about women, people of color, LGBT folk. That's what it's saying here. And some of the people that are old school comic book writers, or at least were raised in that era, are against it. And I can understand from both sides because that's how I am. I'm always I'm not on this team or that team. I'm in the stands just watching. That's how I swing. But yeah, it looks like these different, comic book illustrators, writers were mad that, they were hiring women, hiring people of color, hiring LGBT people to essentially change these original superheroes already made and make them more diverse and you know more in the line of what everyone's into now, which is the woke whatever, right? For instance, like uh making like Miss Marvel, no, not Miss, right? Making Miss Marvel like an Indian woman, or making fucking Spider-Man black with the Miles Morales Spider-Man. That's just examples here. Um there's also like an example here. There was a storyline, all new, all different campaign by Marvel Comics. in 2010s, in which various white male characters that had traditionally had superhero identities of Wolverine, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, and Spider-Man were temporarily replaced by female and/or racial minority characters. Uh, Comicsgate people have also complained that stories dealing with current social issues and the depiction of women with less sexualized figures. Now that's where I draw the line. Let me tell you what is when you start making did I still still leave it? When you start making comic books, because I remember growing up and always going to see the what is it the magazine Wizards of the Coast or Wizards Trading Card or whatever, and I remember always buying it. And I didn't like comics. I've never really been into comics. I really haven't. That's been my favorite part. I've never really been into comics, but I remember looking at and just liking the drawings and the the way they uh exaggerate the female figure. Not that they don't exaggerate the male figure too. You have to consider that as well. Like they make guys look buff as fuck. Uh they make chicks look hot as fuck too. Like depictions of them as like Greek, even more Greekier gods, the Greekiest. I feel like it goes both ways there too. Like they're gonna keep having these men look like top notch wrestling, fucking figurines. They should have the women still look sexy with the tight butts, the big boobs, and I don't know, just keep it that way. Like uh, if you're gonna do it the way you want to do it, make your own comic, make your own, like don't take something that's already established and try to change it. Don't go the new Coke route. you know, how that worked out with Coke and New Coke. They nuked that new Coke, nuked Coke. I don't know, but yeah, it looks like the comic skate thing. In 2016, female superhero Mockingbird was depicted on a comic book cover wearing a T-shirt that read "Ask me about my feminist agenda," and this was followed by harassment Twitter of series writer Chelsea Kane, including a posted illustration of Mockingbird depicted their costume torn off with a T-shirt phrase as a caption. Um, and I get it. Like Twitter, especially, is like a terrible. It's like the war in Gaza. Literally, the war in Gaza and Israel is probably how Twitter is being depicted, where people want to like find a common ground but there really is none. It's like it's literally black and white, but one person only sees the black on their side, and the other person only sees the white on their side. Literally black and white, or black and other rainbow colors and then white. But I don't know. What I hate about Twitter is that they always go as far as to, oh, we're gonna send your physical address to everyone. We're gonna harass you because you do this. We're gonna make you lose your job. We're gonna ruin your livelihood. And it's like, dude, like, why do you need to go that far in all this? Like, I don't know how these people have time to try to ruin people's lives. People have a lot of time on their hands on the Twitter, dude. Like, yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm not like um proud of it, but I'm not there like, oh, I need to investigate this person, find out where they live, ruin their life, and then I'll feel fulfilled, and then move on to the next one. Just because they don't agree with how I want things done. And in this case, they don't agree with how I want my comic book characters depicted, or how I think comic book characters should be depicted. And it's like, okay, it's one thing to do it in the circumstances of political leaders, political leaders, or political issues, or world issues, or climate, or like things that may determine the world and how it goes. But then this is about comic books. This is about, you know, and I'm not saying comic books aren't important in the world. You know, look at how much money they're generating or have been generating in the movie industry now, because the movie industry's dried up. It fucking needs to soak every bit of juice out of the comic book industry. But um, we're fighting over comic books. We're ruining people's lives over, you know, paper and pen and ink. I don't know. It's silly when you think about it, but at the same time, uh, this is just like the world. They find the oddest things to fight over. They find the oddest things to want to change. Like I said, I could see wanting more diversity in comic books, but then make your own comic book. Like, you don't need to change these characters that are already well established into something, you know, unless there's something like there's some dude named Blackface Man, and his literal power is from turning white into a black dude when he paints his face. Like, okay, then I get like, okay, let's update that a little, because that's a little too on the button, you know, like I don't know, whatever. But yeah, that's you know, the way I feel about Comicsgate. Um, like I said, you could look it up here on Wikipedia, the greatest source ever on the internet, or you could probably look at hashtags on Twitter and shit. But I don't know. Like I said, I I don't read comics. I could tell you what my favorite part is about every comic that I've never read, though. I really could. Let me know what you think about comic books or Comicsgate or whatever you're into, or whatever leftovers you're eating for Thanksgiving. And yeah, that's all funny podcast is available everywhere. If you want to help support the podcast, patreon.com/Lorenzo Areola. It's early access, other bonus stuff. We have all the PayPal, Cash App, Venmo if you want to give to the site, or if you want to check out the merchandise, retrohorrorinc.com, for great exclusive merchandise, handmade, or if you just want to commission some great art from a great artist. All the art here is done by the great at Retro Horror Inc. on Instagram. Yeah, I mean, we just do it all. That's here how it is at Funky Eskimo Productions or Studios. I don't know what you want to call it. But yeah, that's all funny today. Comicsgate, episode 432. I want to thank you for listening. Take care, and see you on the weekend. Bye.